Now, anecdotally, and in some media last week, stories around the place that the number of women appearing on drink driving charges before our courts is continuing to rise. Bit of a worry. There are probably very good reasons for this. I'm not sure what they are. Andrew Wiseman from Wiseman Lawyers deals with a lot of this stuff. He joins me this morning. Hello, mate.
G'day, Chris.
How are you?
Yeah, good yourself?
Yeah, not bad. This trend, I know it's been happening for a while. It's continuing.
Look, the percentage of female clients since my business has been in operation has been pretty much constant, but they do make up around 30 to 40% of my clients.
Righto.
I haven't seen any increase or decrease. It is generally a steady percentage, but it is. They are interesting figures.
Yeah, they sure are. I mean, without obviously wishing you to go into specific cases, what are the circumstances under which many women end up in this situation?
Look, generally, my female clients, they either just go over the limit, say 0.051, 0.06, or they do a really good job of it and get done like 4 or 5 times the limit. So generally, like a lot of the male clients are around the early 0.1, so 0.12, 0.13. Occasionally I'll get the high-end ones, but even so, the men generally are 0.17 to 0.2 as a rule at the highest, whereas in my experience, my female clients, as I said, have either been really low range or right up the end, like 0.29 and that kind of a reading.
Yeah.
And I've got no way of explaining that other than with regard to the low-end ones, obviously most women are quite slighter in build than the average man, so a standard drink for a man obviously is going to dissipate a lot more effectively in a 100 kg male than it will a 51 kilogram lady who's consumed the same amount of alcohol. And I guess the 1 drink per hour myth, I suppose you could call it, is very hard to gauge, and there's no real generic rule that can possibly accommodate every single body shape and gender.
Yeah, exactly right. It's too hard to guess that one. Again, anecdotally, Andrew, from people I've spoken to, there's a suggestion that the number of women who get picked up while they're picking up their kids in the afternoon is going up.
Yeah, look, I won't beat around the bush. Yeah, I have acted for people in that situation, but generally, like when people, whether they're male or female, when they get done really high level readings, it's more to it than just someone who's decided to disregard the law and go on a bender. There's normally underlying inherent psychological or grief-related issues that, like 95% of my clients are first-time offenders, and they're generally middle-aged professionals. They've done nothing wrong up until now. Let's say they're 41 years of age, and whilst they've made a good job of it in this instance, they'll never do anything wrong again.
Yeah.
And it's clearly uncharacteristic of the person throughout their life up until now, and as their life will continue into the future. And as I said, there's generally an underlying psychological, it could be anything from an alcohol dependency right through to bipolar or post-traumatic stress or something like that. And clearly that issue needs to be presented to the court in giving the magistrate an understanding as to what's gone on. But, but as far as the low range, getting it, just simply miscalculating, it is very difficult, particularly, when you've got so much less body size to burn the alcohol off. It can be very difficult to get the calculation right.
Yeah, I understand. The other one that you hear around the place too, and I suspect it's not probably nowhere near as common, is, Andrew, that some young women decide to drive because they're not as drunk as their boyfriends.
Yeah, and I guess that you're correct, but that's not necessarily gender specific. It does happen, like you're exactly right in what you've said, but there's also instances where the wife has been a designated driver, but at the end of the evening she's got a splitting headache, notwithstanding the fact that she hasn't been drinking.
Yeah.
Husband thinks, well, she's not fit to drive. I've only had, X amount of drinks over it. I'll be right, and then he gets it wrong. But you're right. There's a lot of teamwork, for want of a better word, the lesser of two evils decides to get behind the wheel, which, but that said, that isn't necessarily a gender-specific situation. Like, you get guys, they go to a party, they decide to sleep in their cars. One of them's, too far gone to know what he's doing, and he's demanding that he drive home, and, the least drunk of the crew, rather than letting his paralytic mate get behind the wheel, makes a judgment call. No, I'll drive you home, and then he unfortunately gets done. So there is quite a bit of lesser of two evils, which obviously is no excuse. But when I go to court, I've got to put the magistrate in the shoes of the client, and I do that by explaining what's happened. And a lot of the time, those kind of scenarios do, give not an excuse, but give an explanation as to what's happened.
Sure, I can understand explanation, and I mean, you said a moment ago that's no excuse, and I know it's hard, but I mean, I think as a society, and you see it every day, I don't, but it seems to me that there can be no excuses for drink driving.
Well, look, the bottom line is not. My role is not so much to get people out of it; it's to minimise the damage. And if someone goes to court unrepresented or with someone who doesn't specialise in traffic law, the police will give their version of events, and straight away the magistrate's got a number of issues in his mind that need to be addressed. And if the unrepresented defendant or the solicitor they've got doesn't address those issues, when everything's said and done, it's time for the magistrate to make a decision. He's got these concerns that haven't been addressed. He's got no choice but to give a penalty that reflects the concerns, whereas in making my submissions, I try to, bang, 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 address every single issue that I know through experience that the magistrate has in their mind. And by the time I'm done, it's given the magistrate what they need to justify an outcome which may not be quite as severe as it would have been if those submissions hadn't been made.
Okay, I think most people understand that, but generally speaking, regardless of what the circumstances may be, you just can't be in that situation. There's no justification for it in my mind.
Oh well, no, you're 100% right. It's absolutely inexcusable. But as I said, people make mistakes. Sometimes there's a misconception that solicitors such as myself act for the repeat, persistent offenders, the young idiots who, willfully drive continually drunk. But as I said, 95% of my clients, first-time offenders, middle-aged,
just stuffed up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to do, and I mean, there, but for the grace of God, go all of us, probably.
Well, if you could pull behind the veil of society and see exactly who it is that gets in these situations, I think you yourself and your listeners would be quite surprised.
Yeah. All right, mate. Good to talk to you. And I guess it's a time of the year to mention, watch it, because a few people between now and Christmas will obviously be at Christmas dues and that sort of thing, and the temptation is easy when, you can't get a cab, you think, bugger it, I'll just drive, and that's when they go.
Well, that's right, and I guess just on a final note, the consequences can be far greater than a simple fine or a loss of licence. If you kill someone on the roads, that's a penalty that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. So, just keep it sensible.
Yeah. Good on you, mate. Speaking of all that, have a good Christmas, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too, mate. Take care.
See ya.